Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. Hope you're all doing well, hope everyone's staying safe, and most of all I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey, because I've definitely been picking a brush back up recently, and no reason more so than that Cities of Sigmar have finally come to Age of Sigmar Warcry. I've been wanting this for so long. For those of you who watch the channel, you know I'm a big Cities of Sigmar fan. I love the army, they are my mainstay army, the army I love playing the most in Warhammer Age of Sigmar proper. And I'm finally happy that they are coming to Age of Sigmar Warcry. Now, it's not, there's a few things like we're going to get into. It's not the full extensive list. It hasn't got every unit option available. We'll get into talking about all of that stuff in here as well, along with like how we think we can build a warband and some of the cool things about this list of units that we can do. So the first thing is, well, let's talk about the units and talk about, well, what we actually can take inside a Cities of Sigmar Warband, and is it truly Cities of Sigmar? No, it's not truly Cities of Sigmar. This is actually a Hammerhal Warband. Now, you can chop and change this and paint up your models however you want and quite easily make this work for any Cities of Sigmar army. The abilities are very niche, are not very niche. They're not directly looking like they're Hammerhal, like they just can be very generic towards cities themselves. And the unit options are quite generic. There are limited options. You don't get every unit in the city's book. We're not lucky enough like Stormcast Eternals, where they get 56 million different cards for Warcry. We get a select few. However, I think with some creative license and a little bit of imagination, you can make this work for almost any model in Cities of Sigmar that would fit in Warcry. So to start with, let's have a look at the roster. So we've got a fair decent amount of different character options now. We can start with, we've got the Guild Champion, which is a Free Guild Greatsword Champion. We've got the Free Guild Sergeant. He's a cool model as well. That's the two-handed sword-wielding guy that would lead your Free Guild Guard of any iteration. We've then got the Marksman with Repeater Handgun, Marksman with Long Rifle, but then we've also got the other unit champions for the Elf and Warden units that come in. So we've got an Ironbeard, which is the Ironbreaker Sergeant, and he has a Drakefire Pistol and Cinderblast Bomb, so the cool different model for him. We've got a Wildwood Warden, which is Wildwood Ranger's unit champion, and then we go down and we've got the Iron Warden with Grudge Hammer Torpedo, so that's the Iron Drake's champion, and then we've got a Captain of the Blackguard, which obviously is the leader of the Blackguard. All really cool. They're all great different options, but they sort of tie in with all the units that we can take within the army. So if you drop down, we then get all those options. So we've obviously got all the different Free Guild Guard options, so you can have Spear, Halberd, Sword and Shield. We've then got Ironbreaker, Iron Drake, Handgunners, Crossbowmen, Greatswords, Wildwood Rangers, and Blackguard. Now, I do think they've picked out some very interesting units and some things that sort of fit Hammerhal. Like, we've got a lot of Free Guild heavy, we've got some Dwarden here, we've got Blackguard. Everything here seems a lot of specialty options, and it just feels like it's very Hammerhal-y. However, I do think when we look at these more, that you've got a bit of freedom with what models you want to use for these. So, for instance, I've been building up a Warcry warband for this already. I'm going to be using as my handgunner, I've got an old Dwarf Thunderer, and that will be my handgunner. And I've also got 2 Spearmen within my warband. So I'm going to be using one of them as a Free Guild Guard with Spear, and the other one as a Dread Spear, just to give some cool variation. You could also do like very similar things with like the Blackguard. He's a halberd wielding elite elven unit, so you could quite easily use Phoenix Guard in their place, I reckon. Wildwood Ranger, he's a giant axe wielding elf unit. You could use Executioners quite easily in that spot, or even if you have some old High Elf Swordmasters would fit in well there. Crossbowmen, obviously you've got Dark Shards, you've got the normal Crossbowmen, or if you've got some old Dwarves as well, you could use Quarrelers. To like even your Greatswords, once again, you could use a Swordmaster of Hoth as a Greatsword quite easily. Or just, sword and board, free good guide. You can use all the different things like, what are they called? Bleak swords, I think. I always get confused on which one is which. I think it's bleak swords. But you've got other options there as well that you could use. Now, there are some really cool units within this, and the abilities are quite cool. So I was looking at them. The first one is you've got a double, which is Reclaim for Sigmar. So it's a fighter can use this ability when I can read my thing. A fighter can use this ability only if they're within 3 inches of an objective. Add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristics of attack actions made by that fighter this activation. So which is really cool. Like, both adding a strength and an attack is really, really good, and that is your generic ability. It's for a double. You then got Pulverizing Strike, which goes on all the things with the weird little lightning bolt under the chin. And that's just adding some extra damage to your crits. You've got Shield Wall, which is really cool. For Sigmar and for Hammerhal is your triple for your combat units. And it's effectively one of your dudes rallying your other guys and giving a aura buff of attacks. You're going to go volley shots, which is enough. It does what it says. And you've got a Righteous Purpose, which is your quad, which is really, really cool in that you can activate one fighter that has a range characteristic of 3 or less weapon, and then you can pick other fighter in your warband within 3 inches of them and activate them as well. It's really cool quad ability, just giving you that extra bit of power. Now, so there are some cool things. Like, I've looked at all the stats of the stuff. Nothing in here does outrageous damage except for the marksman with long rifle. Like, he, of course, has a fairly good shot. A lot of the crit damage in the Cities of Sigmar is 4. But a lot of it doesn't go below 4 as well. There's only a couple of 3s within the whole thing for crit damage. And I think it's just the free guild shooting units that only have the 2s in crit damage. However, their ranged weapons are 1 and 3 as well. Now, the things I see lacking, I guess, within Cities of Sigmar for Warcry is your strength is quite low on a lot of your units. You don't have many strength 4 models. I think Halberdiers and the Cinderblast Bomb are pretty much it. The Wildwood Wardens have strength 4 as well, and so does your guild champion. But for the vast majority, you are strength 3 for a lot of stuff. You're also quite low on wounds, not a lot of wounds on many models here. The Dwarven have a few more wounds than the humans, so do the elves. The elves actually have less wounds than the humans, sorry, my bad. But they all have different movement. And this is what I'm talking about with a little bit of creative freedom when we get into it, that I think you can easily replace these things. So it's like a Thunderer. If I'm playing like in a narrative campaign, I'm using a Thunderer instead of a human handgunner. I might decrease his movement, but actually give him the +2 wounds as well, because that generally seems like what it is. So where you've got, say, your free good guard, he's got 10 wounds, an elf of equivalent only has 8 wounds, but a Dwarven has 12 wounds. I think you can see that, like, cool, elf -2 wounds, but also all the elves have generally more attacks, it would seem. Oh no, same amount of attack. Your elves, from the looks of it, have high damage, and obviously 1 extra movement. And then all your defense on your dwarves is a lot higher, but they lose movement. And I think with some creative license, you can sort of easily build out some different war scrolls. I'm not sure what they're called in Warcry. Different profiles for other models within the Series of Sigmar. But overall, I'm really happy with what we got for Cities of Sigmar. The way they've done Hammerhal, potentially this might mean that we might see other warbands, because I think the units left out. So I look at Phoenix Guard left out, and that's like, cool. Or maybe is there a Phoenician warbands that they're planning? And I look at, there's no, besides Blackguard, all the Darkling Coven stuff is gone. And there's no Scourge Privateers, no Order Serpentis, so maybe Anvilgard will get its own. And even Living City, like there's only one Wanderer's unit, and you haven't got things like Eternal Guard, Sister of the Thorn, Wild Riders, all these other things, and so maybe that's where we're going. Now, the other thing I was potentially thinking of is, like, would it be cool to use the Stormcast, Caradron Overlords, and Sylvaneth, and how we build armies in Age of Sigmar, use that idea to make warbands that fit those cities. So if I'm playing Living City, do I do the 1 in 4 rule, and so say I can take a Sylvaneth, but I use these abilities here instead. It'd be a really cool way to maybe run some narrative style games in this for Warcry. But that's enough rambling from me. I'd like to hear all your thoughts on Cities of Sigmar in Warcry. I'm really excited and can't wait to get to play them. So be really excited to know what you all think. Are you going to give them a go? We'll be having these guys on the channel soon. You'll probably see me doing some paint streams, painting up my warband. I've got that all ready to go. So that's enough from me anyway. So that's all for today. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'd love to hear back from you about it, what you thought in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to check out in the description of the video, we'll have a link to our channel's Discord server where you can come chat with me and all other members of our Discord about all things wargaming and other things beside as well. And a special thank you to all the people who support the channel on Patreon, our Sinfield Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Philip Ward, Cowspawn and Soren, and our Free Guild Regiment members, James and AJC. Thank you very much, all of you. It means a ton that you're supporting the channel, and it means that we can keep on putting out more and more content for all of you to enjoy. Lastly though, if you want to support the channel in another way, you can do so on Patreon. You can find the link in the description of the video as well down below. But that's it from us today, guys. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.